Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video we will be looking at AQA Alevel Psychology Specimen 1 Paper 1 Exemplar Answers for Social Influence, which you need to know for AQA Alevel Psychology. I hope you enjoy this video and find it helpful. Let's get started. Please note that these answers have been produced with knowledge of the mark scheme but have not been approved by the mark scheme themselves. There are 3 assessment objectives, AOs, in psychology. In this video they are color-coded. AO1 Knowledge, purple. AO2 Application, blue. AO3 Evaluation, red and green. Question 1. Which of the following terms best matches the statements below? Choose one term that matches each statement and write A, B, C, D or E in the box next to it. Use each letter once only. A. Identification. B. Informational social influence. C. Normative social influence. D. Compliance. E. Internalization. Publicly changing behavior whilst maintaining a different private view. 1 mark. Group pressure leading to a desire to fit in with the group. 1 mark. When a person lacks knowledge of how to behave and looks to the group for guidance. 1 mark. Conforming to the behavior of a role model. 1 mark. Publicly changing behavior whilst maintaining a different private view. 1 mark. Answer, D. Compliance. Group pressure leading to a desire to fit in with the group. 1 mark. Answer, C. Normative social influence. When a person lacks knowledge of how to behave and looks to the group for guidance. 1 mark. Answer, B. Informational social influence. Conforming to the behavior of a role model. 1 mark. Answer, A. Identification. Question 2. Briefly outline and evaluate the findings of any one study of social influence. 4 marks. ASK found that on the critical trials, about 36.8% of the participants, over a 1/3, conformed to the clearly incorrect majority proportion of critical trials when the participants agreed with the Confederates' wrong answers. This shows a high level of conformity, called the ASK effect, the extent to which people conform even in an unambiguous situation. 75% of participants conformed at least once during the experiment. 25% of participants never conformed. 1% of incorrect answers were genuine mistakes. 0.7% of participants gave incorrect answers in the control group. Most participants said they conformed to avoid rejection, NSI, and continued to privately trust their own opinions, compliance. A limitation of Asker's research is that his study lacked ecological validity. Asker's study was conducted in a controlled laboratory setting, which doesn't mirror the complexities and nuances of social interactions in natural environments. The controlled setting could have influenced the participants to behave differently than they would in their daily lives. This is a limitation because it suggests that result of the study cannot be generalized to real-world scenarios, as the results do not accurately reflect how people would behave in a real-world setting due to the artificial nature of the environment. Question 3. Read the item and then answer the question that follows. 2 psychology students were discussing the topic of social influence. I find it fascinating how some people are able to resist social influence, said Jack. It must be the result of having a confident personality. I disagree, replied Sarah. I think resisting social influence depends much more on the presence of others. Discuss 2 explanations of resistance to social influence. As part of your discussion, refer to the views expressed by Jack and Sarah in the conversation above. 16 marks. Social support is an explanation of resistance to social influence and is an external, situational, factor. It suggests that defiance, resistance, disobedience, and nonconformity is more likely to occur in the presence of others who are resisting. Seeing others disobey and not conform gives observer confidence to do the same. In the context of obedience, having a disobedient role models can increase the likelihood that an individual will disobey, as this challenges the legitimacy of the authority figure. In the context of conformity, having an ally, someone else who supports their point of view, can increase the likelihood that an individual will not conform, as this breaks unanimity of group in conformity situations. Social support is associated with diffusion of responsibility, as the more people who disobey, the less severe the consequences are likely to be. Sarah indicates that situational factors are more important in resisting social influence, as what other people are doing at the time relates to whether they are seen to be conforming/obeying, which could be read as having social support makes someone better able to resist social influence. A strength of social support is that there is research to support the idea that social support can help an individual to resist the influence of a group. Vernon Allen and John Levine, 1971, conducted an ASC-type task study, where the dissenter was someone with apparently good eyesight. 64% of genuine participants refused to conform. When there was no supporter at all, only 3% of participants resisted. This is a strength because it suggests that having a supportive figure can greatly assist individuals in resisting group influence. The research highlights the crucial role of social support in empowering individuals to maintain their independence and make decisions based on their own judgment rather than succumbing to group pressure. However, the study also showed that social support does not always help a person to resist social influence. In the condition where the dissenter had obviously poor eyesight, wore thick glasses, resistance was only 36%. This indicates that the social support offered needs to be deemed valid in order to cause major resistance. This is a limitation because it suggests that the effectiveness of resisting social influence through support can be influenced by factors such as the credibility or perceived competence of the supporting individual, as demonstrated in the study by Vernon Allen and John Levine, 1971. The variation in resistance rates depending on the characteristics of the dissenter highlights the nuanced nature of social support in challenging group conformity. Locus of control is another explanation of resistance to social influence and is an internal, personality, factor proposed by Rotter, 1966, who argued that an individual's sense of personal control over events in their life can be measured using a scale. It suggests that defiance, resistance, disobedience, and nonconformity is more likely to occur if a person had an internal locus of control. A person who has an internal locus of control believes they have control over their life and have free will and are therefore personally responsible for the choices and decision which they make. They are more self-confident, more achievement-oriented, have higher intelligence. They are less concerned with social approval. They also are more independent and find it easier to resist social influence than those with an external locus of control and therefore are more likely to resist pressure to conform and obey. Jack indicates that personality factors are more important in resisting social influence. A strong personality could be read as having an internal locus of control that makes someone better able to resist social influence. A strength of locus of control is that there is research to support the link between locus of control and resistance to obedience. Holland, 1967, repeated Milgram's baseline study and measured whether participants were internals or externals. He found that 37% of the internals did not continue to the highest shock level, i.e. they showed some resistance, whereas only 23% of externals did not continue. In other words, internals showed greater resistance to authority in a Milgram-type situation. This is a strength because it suggests that individuals with an internal locus of control are more inclined to resist authority, as evidenced by Holland's, 1967, study replicating Milgram's baseline experiment. The findings highlight the correlation between one's locus of control orientation and their ability to resist obedience in challenging situations, shedding light on the impact of internal beliefs on behavior in authoritative settings. However, Rotter, 1982, points out that locus of control is not necessarily the most important factor in determining whether someone resists social influence. Locus of control's role depends on the situation. A person's locus of control only significantly affects their behavior in new situations. If a person has conformed or obeyed in a specific situation in the past, the chances that they will conform or obey in that same situation again regardless of whether they have high internal or high external locus of control. This is a limitation because it suggests that an individual's past behaviors in specific situations may have a more substantial impact on their future responses than their locus of control orientation, as highlighted by Rotter, 1982. This suggests that while locus of control is a factor, it may not always be the most influential determinant of behavior in social influence scenarios. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content like this. Bye.